Now, the original structure of the script for True Romance is very different from the movie. The way it worked, even though it has almost identically the same scenes. I mean, really, it's except for the ending, it was the structure that Tony didn't use. Everything else, I mean, God, he did exactly what I wrote. I mean, it's pretty good. And all the scenes are there, they're just in different order. The way it worked initially was it would start with the Elvis, I'd fuck Elvis speech. Then there was the credits. Then there was the Drexel pussy-eating speech. And we don't know who's this guy, and he kills all those other guys, and we're like, what the fuck's going on? Right, we still don't know what's going on. I like that, don't know what's going on, but it's all entertaining. Then, the next scene, after the Drexel pussy-eating scene, is Clarence in Alabama showing up at Clarence's father's house, Dennis Hopper. And so, the whole, like, story more or less about Drexel, her being his pimp and all that blah, 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 and the cocaine and all that stuff, all right, was told, you just kind of hear it through Clarence's version, but you don't quite hear the whole thing. But we don't know what's going on. We don't know what's going on, all right? And we only have Clarence's slight version. So when we were watching this scene, we don't really know who to believe or what's going on. Just two kids seem like sweet kids. All right. So they split. Then he calls Dick Ritchie. What's going to be coming up? Then there's the infamous or famous or whatever Christopher Walken Dennis Hopper scene. Now, how the structure really affects us in a big way, the biggest difference between the way the movie works and the way the structure works, is we don't know Clarence's story. We don't know exactly any of the whys of the wherefores about how he met Alabama, how he ended up taking the cocaine or anything. It's all just very sketchy. All right, all we have is the fact that we kind of like these two kids, even though we don't know anything about them. The biggest difference is, audiences, as long as they're in good hands, they like being curious. They don't like to be told everything, all right? If they think that they're in good hands, if they think the storyteller will eventually take care of them, they can wait if they think, it's not a mistake, if they think it's on purpose. And so Christopher Walken comes in, and he gives us our first real information about what happened. But his information is like, okay, here's what happened. Your dumb fuck son and his whore come in there blazing. They found out we were going to do a cocaine deal. They came in there, they shot everybody, killed everybody, completed a total fucking massacre, and they took the dope and ran. So that's the first time we've actually heard complete information about exactly what happened. And so, like, our thought should be like, they did that? They're that crazy? They're that homicidal? All right, that was supposed to be the idea behind that. Then, from that sequence, then we have Clarence arriving in, Los Angeles, in Hollywood. All right, and he gets together with Dick Ritchie, and then him and Dick in Alabama go out to Pink's hot dog stand, and they're talking, and then Dick literally says something to the effect of, so how did you meet Alabama? All right, and then he tells the story, all right, and that's the second act, and that starts with Clarence in the movie theater watching the Street Fighter triple feature in Alabama coming in. And then that goes on through the whole second act of the movie until leading up to Clarence killing Drexel. And after the killing of Drexel and finding the cocaine, from that point on, we pick up the movie. It comes back in the film to when Clarence shows Dick Ritchie the cocaine and about how to sell it, and Dick Ritchie's like flipping out. All right, and then that's the third act, and then from that point on, the movie's like it is. All right, now the way that 3-act structure was supposed to work was this: the first act, everybody in the movie, with the possible exception of Cliff Worley, Dennis Hopper, knows so much more than we do. All the characters know what they're talking about. We don't know what they're talking about. All the characters know what they did, again, except for Cliff. We don't. All right? Everybody in the movie is way ahead of the audience. All right. The second act, the audience here's the whole story, and catches up with the characters. The third act, and this is where it starts getting kind of cool, and it's the only thing I miss, is now the audience, well, you know what, I say I miss it, but actually this still works, all right. The audience now knows more than the characters. The audience is so much more hipper about what's going on and what's happening than any one of the characters in the movie. All right, you know, the audience knows that Clarence isn't working for a cop or anything like that to try to sell this cocaine. The audience knows that Bronson Pinchot's Elliot Blitzer, all right, is working with the cops. All right, the audience knows what's waiting for Clarence up in that hotel room, but we don't. The audience knows, but Clarence doesn't. You know, it's like everybody is ahead of all the characters. So that was the way it was supposed to be. Act 1, audience doesn't know shit. Characters know everything. Act 2, audience catches up. Act 3, audience knows far more than anybody in the movie.